Hello again, friends and loyal WulffPack members, Chaos Wolf here, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Today we are going to be taking another look at the Type 10 Defender. This time around we're going to be having a look at it fully engineered and A-rated. So, without further ado, let's get into the outfitting department and see just how I have this thing set up. First of all, we're going to have a look at the core internals. As you can see, I have military grade composites and I have these modified for heavy duty armor. We have a hull boost of 40.03% increase. We also have increases to the thermal, kinetic and explosive resistances, although those aren't really that spectacular. We have the best power plant that we can fit, and it also is modified for Overcharge power plant grade 1. We don't actually need this, as you can see at the bottom here. We are underpowered completely here, but this I have taken from a different ship which did need it. So eventually I may put it back, we'll have to wait and see. So I'm not taking the modification off at all. Thrusters, I took these off of another ship as well. These are grade 5 dirty drive tuning with an optimal multiplier of 34%, which is quite good in fact. We've also got a small mass reduction, which is alright. We've lost about 4.5 tons of mass off the ship. We've got a small increase to thermal load. Well, actually, no, that's quite a huge increase to thermal load of 91%. But that's not a huge issue because this ship does still run fairly cool. The Frameshift Drive has been modified for increased FSD range, obviously because this ship will have a terrible jump range otherwise with all the increases to mass that we put on it. And this has got a 53.1% increased jump range, so this is over the maximum thanks to the secondaries. Again, I got this from a different ship. It was originally on my Imperial Cutter. The life support has been modified for lightweight. Again, I took it from a different ship, so I'm just keeping it as it is. It's reduced it from 8 tons to 2.5 tons, let's say. So that's a great little decrease, though it's probably not going to make that much of a notable difference to the maneuverability of the ship. The power distributor has been modified for charge enhanced, which, to start with, reduces the capacity of each of the 3 individual capacitors, but increases their regeneration rate or their recharge rate, which is very, very useful in many ways. This one actually had somewhat of a really, really good roll because our engine recharge got increased to 38.2%, so that was really good thanks to the secondaries. Also on the main rolls, we got almost the lowest possible reduction to the capacities, which is, again, very, very nice. Sensors are modified for lightweight. Again, I got them from a different ship, because it's not like the reduction to weight is going to make the ship any more maneuverable. But, oh well. We did get a nice little power draw reduction on that as well, which is very nice. On to the optional internals, we've got a bi-weave shield generator. Yes, I do like using bi-weave shield generators on my larger ships, though I do have this one modified slightly differently. This one is actually modified for enhanced low power, so a reduction to mass, a reduction to power draw, and a increase to optimal hull mass and optimal strength and thermal resistance. Those are mainly from the secondary effects. But that is still very nice because we got a 40% mass reduction, which reduces our shield mass from 160 tons to 96 tons, which is a very, very good reduction. Now, normally I would go for thermal resistance on shields like this if I were fighting normal NPCs, but that's not what I've got this ship set up for, hence why I have a different modification on the shield generator. We have a stock 7A shield cell bank, so that's non-modified, because I don't really see the point in modifying shield cell banks, there's not much benefit from them. A 60 fighter bay hangar with 2 AX Taipan fighters on board, yes, we're going for the anti-Xeno fighters. A 5A fuel scoop because when I'm using this ship for what I intend it to be used for, it does need to move around a bit. I've also got a 4G planetary vehicle hangar just because I'm weird and like to always have SRVs in almost every ship I have, just because I like to have the option to drive around planets if I want. It's completely unnecessary. We could theoretically just go and put another hull reinforcement package in here, which I was very tempted to do, but like I said, I'm weird and just like having SRVs. We do have a 4E cargo rack. Again, it could be swapped out for more hull reinforcements. I've got it there just because I like to have a little bit of cargo capacity if needed. But again, that's just me. I do, however, have a bunch of hull reinforcement packages in the Class 5, 2 and 3 slots, the 2 military compartments and the remaining normal compartments. These are all modified exactly the same, with heavy duty grade 5. So that's increasing the hull reinforcement and the resistances. Again, the resistances are kind of pointless in this situation. The main thing I was after was the hull reinforcement boost. Moving into the utility mounts, you can see that we've got 4 shield boosters. These are all modified for resistance augmented. Again, they're not really potentially the best of ideas for this particular build, but I got them off of a different ship, so it works well enough for what it's needed for right now. We also have a Xenoscanner, a shutdown field neutralizer, and 2 heatsink launchers just to cope with the amount of shield cells we have. Jumping into the hard points, you can see that we've got a couple of beam laser turrets. These are modified for regeneration sequence, friend or foam beam. So healing beams, pretty much. We have 3 of those in medium and 2 in small, as you see down the bottom. This is in case we either wing up or we use multi-crew so we can keep our fighters healed. And yes, because I'm planning to use this ship to hunt Thargoids, I have installed 2 Class 3 AX multi-cannons, turreted, and 2 Class 3 fixed AX missile racks. This is going to be interesting as to whether or not we're going to be able to use this efficiently. No, we do not have any flak launches because I don't really like them. So now you've seen how I have this ship set out. Obviously, it's not set up the most efficient way for fighting Thargoids, because, as I said, I have taken some of the parts off of different ships, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping the Type 10. But regardless of that, they're going to prove useful enough for what we're planning to test out today. Now, before we go and test this thing against an actual Thargoid, let's just go and test and see how its maneuverability holds up as opposed to its stock version. Okay, so same as before, we're going to go and see just how quickly this thing accelerates from a standing start. As you can see, it's accelerating fairly well, although there are other ships that accelerate faster at this size. And we can see that our top cruising speed is 236 meters per second, so that is not exactly really slow for this. Then again, we do have grade 5 dirty drives on this thing. Now, next to see how fast this thing stops. As you can see, it decelerates fairly slowly in comparison to how fast it accelerates, but that's the same for all ships pretty much. Now, boost start. That is really quite nice, and let's see how quickly we can actually get this thing to go with a boost. So far, it seems like our maximum boost speed is just shy of 290 meters per second. So it's definitely nowhere near as fast as an Anaconda, a Corvette, and especially nowhere near as fast as a cutter. Another thing we want to have a look at is just how blinding the retro thrusters are when you look at your side panels when you're slowing down. Some people do complain about this, but I don't mind it at all. It adds character to the ship. Now, what we want to do is see just how quickly this thing goes and pitches. Now, bearing in mind this is one of, if not the largest ships in the game right now, at least mass-wise, and it's manoeuvring very, very well, considering that we do have a lot of extra mass on the ship, but then again, we do also have, as I said, grade 5 dirties to compensate. Now, what we're going to do is try a quick boost turn to see how fast we can turn this thing around. Now, as you can see, we can turn this thing around fairly quickly. So, its maneuverability is not really that bad, especially when it's fully modified. Now, I'm fully aware that not everybody is going to be able to or be bothered to modify a ship up to this degree. I have, so I'm showing you what its capabilities are. But anyway, let's go and get out into the void and see if we can find ourselves a Goid. Whilst we're having a look for a Thargoid, it's probably a good idea to point out that even though this ship is a upgraded and refitted Type 9, it still handles pretty much like a Type 9 in Super Cruise, so that is a little bit sluggish. And here we go, we've actually found ourselves a non-human signal source. So is there going to be a Thargoid in here? I think so. I do think there's one right there. Yes, there is. So, first things first, let's deploy our fighter.
Fighter startup activated. I've got the mothership, Commander.
Deploying my weapons, and we are going to scan this Thargoid. There we go, we have him scanned. It is a Cyclops variant. Now, come back. No, you're not getting that.
What is that? I've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah, he's not happy. The only issue that I find with the hardpoint placements here is that the large well, there's very few of the hardpoints that are set close enough together to make hitting these missiles easy. It's very difficult to hit these. Now, sub-targets, we have an exerted heart. Swap over to our multi-cannons.
Shield's gone, Commander. I need help immediately.
Let's get rid of this heart. Keep our pips as much into engines as we can, because unfortunately this thing is nowhere near as maneuverable as a Thargoid. The Thargoids are always going to be way more maneuverable than we are.
Shield's gone, Commander. I need help immediately.
Deploy the second fighter. Okay, so we need to head back and you start using the missiles again.
Performing evasive maneuvers.
Well, as we can clearly see, I am no match for a Thargoid by myself. I do feel that the lack of maneuverability in this ship is somewhat of a big problem. I do think that an Anaconda may potentially be way better at this job than the Type 10. The Type 10, however, does have a lot more hull and a lot better shields. So it's really down to your own personal preference of playstyle. I'm pretty sure that this would do a lot better in a wing rather than just being solo, because you wouldn't be the sole focus of the Thargoid. In an Anaconda, you're able to run away when missiles are incoming, and you're able to keep your nose pointed at the Thargoid way more easily. So, at the end of the day, it's completely down to you whether or not you go for a Type 10 or stick with a ship that's got a bit more of a proven track record. Personally, I'm not convinced I'm going to be keeping this ship. I'm possibly going to be going back to my Anaconda. Let's not forget as well that I have taken a good long break from the game, so my piloting skills are not really as good as they could still be. But anyway, a little over a 17 million credit rebuy later, we're back here in the orbital. Now, I've told you what I think about this ship. I'm pretty convinced a similarly spec'd Anaconda would do way better against the Thargoids than this Type 10. The Type 10 isn't bad, but I don't think it's as good as it could be. It's a little bit lacking in the maneuverability department, and I do think that the hard points are just a bit awkwardly placed. Yes, it has the most hard points of any ship in the game, but I think this ship may actually work better against human NPCs than Thargoid NPCs. Yes, it's got a smaller power distributor, which would make using normal weapons less efficient, but it really depends on whether you are really interested in this ship or not. But like I said, that's my view on it. What I want to know is, what do you guys think about this ship? Let me know, as always, down in the comments, and I will do my level best to get back to as many of you as I can. But that is going to be it for this video. I don't fancy blowing up more than once today. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. Like it if you've liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Neither of those good enough for you, that's what the comments are for. You can also go and join our community on Discord or on Nara. Links are going to be in the video description. I've been Commander Chaos Wolf from Sci-Fi Gaming. You guys, as always, have been epic. I will see you soon. And until next time, my fellow commanders, keep flying and stay shiny.